Namanda, it's Namanda, it's Namanda, 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 it's Namanda, 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 Namanda. Please join me in the ancient Buddhist chant of Vandana Tisarana as we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namu Kie Butsu. Namu Kie Ho. Namu Kie So. Please join me in reading the Golden Chain. I am a link in the Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in the Buddha's golden chain of love become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda. Namanda Butsu. Namanda. 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 Please join me in chanting Jusege. The Jusege comes from the larger sutra of the Buddha of Immeasurable Life. In that sutra, the Bodhisattva Dharmakara, who becomes the Buddha Amida, declares to the Buddha Lokeshvara Raja their intentions to become Buddha. The three sacred vows refer to Dharmakara's pledge to 1. Establish the most incomparable vow in the universe. 2. Become a great provider and save the poor and suffering. and 3, attain Buddhahood and have their name heard through the 10 quarters of the universe. Thank you to everyone who came to this morning's service. Nice to see all your little faces on my screen. I'd like to start the next portion by sharing my Dharma message. Give me just a moment. I'd like to share a slideshow so we can read the Gosandai together. Please join me in Gassho as I share the words of Shinran. Truly we know it is a great torch in the long night of ignorance. Why should we sorrow that our eyes of wisdom are dark? Amida's vow is a great torch in the long night of ignorance. We should reflect that although our wisdom eyes are dark, we need not despair. It is a great ship on the vast ocean of birth and death. Why should we grieve that our karmic hindrance is heavy? The power of Amida's vow is a great ship on the vast ocean of birth and death. Seikaku states that we should not grieve that our existence is one of greatest evil, deep and heavy. Namo Amida Butsu, 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 Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida. This passage comes from Shinran's notes on the inscriptions on sacred scrolls. And here Shinran is explaining an inscription in praise of Hoin Seikaku, one of Honen's disciples and Shinran's peers. Shinran's explication also touches profoundly on the difficulty of our shared human experiences, especially as Pure Land Buddhists. I find a connection in this understanding that we are in such a limited place as human beings, with Shandao's two aspects of deep mind. That is, on the one hand, when we consider our human nature deeply, things can feel quite hopeless. Our eyes of wisdom are dark, and we carry such deep and heavy evil karma. If we dwell too deeply upon that fact, it can be quite disheartening. Shinran and Seikaku both conjure the imagery of a long, dark night and being lost at sea to convey these feelings of heaviness. The other aspect of deep mind, however, is the fact that due to our limitedness, due to our lostness, and the profundity of our evil karma, our desperate need, we are precisely the ones who Amida will save without question. The description of Amida and the vow as a torch on the long night of ignorance is one that holds deep meaning for me personally as well. When I was a child, I frequently suffered night terrors and sleep paralysis. Sometimes I would have such vivid dreams that I'd become lucid in the middle of those nightmares and wanted desperately to awaken. Sometimes I would wake up, but then I'd be stuck in my bed in the dark, unable to move and frozen by the fears lingering in my dreams. Monsters and terrors lurked in the dark corners of my room, in my closet and under my bed. At this time in my life, and even still today sometimes, nightfall is terrifying, full of mystery and uncertainty, and time often feels like it stands still in the darkness. When I think about these moments in my life and I connect them to the feelings of a long, dark night that Shinran and Seikaku conjure in this passage, then my life truly does feel desperate. In the midst of that desperation, however, we are urged not to fall into hopelessness because the light of Amida Buddha is there to guide us through the darkness as a torch. Or perhaps these days, we might say a flashlight or a phone screen in our dark bedroom. The mystery and unknowingness or unknowableness of a pitch black night can fill our imaginative minds with horrible things. The slightest sensation might conjure up fears of violence. We may think of terrible beasts or other horrid things stalking us in the shadows. But when a beam of light reveals the way out of the darkness, it's much like waking up to the bright and shining sun after a night of troubled sleep. Birdsong, which usually comes with the breaking of the dawn too, can help us come out of that long and fearful night, much like hearing the calling voice, Namo Amida Butsu, echoing in our ears and pulling us from the darkest depths of our imagination. Living our lives as Shin Buddhists is all about balance in our awareness and our imagination. While it's absolutely critical for us to understand the difficulty of our position in life as foolish beings with no means of attaining liberation from this world of suffering on our own, it's equally important for us to rely on the hope of Amida Buddha and the primal vow. Oftentimes, I find myself wandering in the dark of my own ignorance and drowning in the generations of heavy karma that weigh me down. For me, these inhibitions manifest themselves as harmful assumptions about norms and about race, gender, relationships, and love. These and more stories I internalize about myself and others, and they make the world confusing and frightening, rigid and painful. When those terrible things begin to make life feel unbearable, that I will never be anything more than the stories handed to me by my ancestors, I try to return to the liberating light and life of the vow. The light of the Buddha and guidance of the vow reveal the truth of this world, both the shadows of our troubled, incapable selves, alongside the hope of a better world, that of the Pure Land, where we hold the potential to live in safety and equality. The meaning of the torch and the great ship of the vow is that of the light of non-discrimination. This light is here for us to open our eyes to awakening, and via the ferry or the great ship of that wisdom will deliver us from the murky and bewildering sea of heavy karma in this world of transmigration, which extends back through countless existences beyond our own conception of time. It's absolutely true that our imaginations can be a powerful source of both despair, but also of hope. And the wisdom, the light of the vow allows us to rein in our imaginations when they become the source of terror and overwhelm. When we rely only on our own eyes in the darkness of our ignorance, then we might lose hope, drowning in a sea of our own monsters called fear and doubt. However, the light of wisdom and compassion that emanates from Buddha and the vow of non-discrimination reveals the reality of our situation, providing us with comfort and clarity, and even more importantly, the promise and the imaginary of the Pure Land, of equality, a world where we all live in peace and harmony, and where we can all walk the path of liberation together, hand in hand. Please join me in Gassho once more as I read the words of Shinran. Truly, we know it is a great torch in the long night of ignorance. Why should we sorrow that our eyes of wisdom are dark? Amida's vow is a great torch in the long night of ignorance. We should reflect that although our wisdom eyes are dark, we need not despair. It is a great ship on the vast ocean of birth and death. Why should we grieve that our karmic hindrance is heavy? The power of Amida's vow is a great ship upon the vast ocean of birth and death. Seikoku states that we should not grieve that our existence is one of greatest evil, deep and heavy. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 With that, I'd like to conclude our service for this Sunday. Thank you all for coming. If you're watching the recording later online, I appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to unmute us and we can end the recording and maybe chat and hang out a little bit.